After spending most of the first squad-roll debate shouting incoherently, Fat Ass 45 finished it off with a crystal clear message that he's urging his inbred welfare trailer park collecting supporters to go into the polls and watch very carefully, which is technically illegal. He said, stoking fears of potentially violent election day interference. At home in Chicago, Kaylee Glaza missed Fat Ass 45's comment at first, and there was so much yelling and other stuff happening. She said one of her friends mentioned it later in a debate group chat. Um, Glaza, who's a former writer for a food magazine who was furloughed during the pandemic, felt scared when she read the text. She plans to be a poll worker in DuPage County, Illinois, and will be in the front lines for any potential troublemaking from 45 nutlickers. I haven't I haven't got assigned for what my job will be at the polling place yet, Glaza said, who's 30 years old, said. Originally, she was very much like, it'll be the person who deals with lines. She loves organizing people and making things fun and making things run efficiently, but now she doesn't know if she wants to volunteer to do that anymore. Maybe just give me a machine that won't yell at me. Let me work with the machines instead. I'll follow those instructions just fine. First-time poll workers from around the country, many of whom signed up for the job because they felt it was their civic duty to be involved in this election and to protect the elderly poll workers from the risk of catching COVID-19, told the Daily Beast that they are disturbed by Fat Ass 45's words, but it will not stop them. Every poll worker who volunteers to help carry out our election should be commended for their efforts to ensure a safe and trusted process, whether it be democratic or not, and no one should feel threatened while doing their jobs. Andrea Haley, who's CEO of the nonprofit Vote.org, which helps people sign up to be poll workers online. Voting is a fundamental right, and any attempt to scare voters or poll workers away while casting or counting ballots is anti-ethical basically to our democracy. Glaza had just finished a 4-hour online class to become certified, and she's familiar with the rules of the day and feels confident she can assist voters. And she knows people are not supposed to electioneer less than 100 feet from a polling place, but she doesn't know what to do exactly if they break that rule. We were not given conflict resolution or de-escalation training, she added, and we shouldn't have to be trained in that. I just hope people act like adults and good citizens of this country and cast their ballots. One 34-year-old poll worker from Mobile, Alabama, who asked that her name not be used, told the Daily Beast that she did not watch the presidential debate, opting to watch Die Hard instead and checking Twitter for highlights. Fat Ass 45 will not scare me from working the polls, but I have that flash of it if something goes wrong. I am a sitting duck, the woman said. I grew up when the only type of shooting situation that would make you scared was Columbine. All I can think of last night was that 17-year-old in Kenosha, Wisconsin, the murderer, basically. And I am just imagining all these people walking around with long guns. I have never imagined myself possibly being in that situation, especially intentionally. Emily Melendez, a 26-year-old from Allentown, Pennsylvania, also applied to be a poll worker. She lost her job as a writer and a marketer for a local magazine and has the time to spare. The whole debate made her extremely anxious. She had heart palpitations and sweaty palms. Basically, Melendez had said, Fat Ass 45's words about the polls scared me, of course, because of how he controls people through what they call hateful rhetoric. I'm not too concerned about it because she lives in a democratic-ish city. I don't think anything scary would happen, but you never know. I think this makes me want to do it more honestly. I want to prove that, hey, I'm here, nothing bad's going to happen. Catherine Goldstein, 36, lives in Durham, North Carolina, and she's a journalist, a podcast host, and a mother of 3. She's leaving her twin infants at home to wear an N95 mask and be a poll worker during early voting. She tweeted right after the debate. Overall, watching that was deeply depressing, Goldstein said in an interview, but I think there are a few ideas where I know that I can potentially make a difference. It's really important for me to be involved as much as possible in protecting our democracy and being sure people have the right to vote. It's important. I'm not super concerned about incidents at this potential polling station, though. People from outside the community could pose a threat. What's more risky for anybody is catching the COVID. Living in New York City, Naima Cochran is not that apprehensive about people stirring up trouble at polls. It's scary for them. It's scary for her, but also it redoubles her efforts. That's easy for me to say. That's easy for her to say, living in New York. But for her mother living in South Carolina, if she was going to be a poll worker, it might be like, okay, be careful, but I would not deter her from doing it. This is the first election um, where she's ever had a conversation with friends about volunteering at the polls. Um, Poll workers are not exactly volunteers. They get paid for the training and labor. Messaging is just like telling people to vote isn't enough anymore. You have to put some skin in the game, and that's the least anyone can do. Alicia Carlson, a 45-year-old mother of 8, is a Democrat. Damn, that's a lot of fucking kids. Fuck, nobody needs that fucking many kids at all. Hell, even one's a fucking handful. Is a Democrat in overwhelmingly red Culpeper, Virginia. I want to be an example for her. She wants to be an example for her children on why it's good to participate in the small ways we can. Carlson said, "We don't necessarily have to have a position in Congress to say that we're participating in government. We can be small workers in a small town of 20,000 plus." Carlson said she was also that she was also compelled to volunteer after her 21-year-old said that he would not bother to vote because he thought that fat ass 45 was going to win anyway, which he's not. For me, for her as a parent, that's going to encourage her to want to do even more, even if it's dealing with the anxiety and potential fear of what the fat ass is insinuating others to do. Carlson isn't put off by fat ass 45's words, but admits that she'll be more cautious when it comes to November 3rd. Being cognizant of what's going on around is important, rather than going about it nonchalantly. She said, "I think there will be a level of needing to be more aware of our surroundings and ensure other people aren't being what they call mistreated, which I might not have had to do before." So if you like the video, give the video a like and subscribe to my channel, Rampant Mike, and also hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified when a new video comes out, and thanks for listening.